everybody. I just today I think I'm just going to talk about what's really been on my mind for this past couple of days. Like a few like 2 weeks ago, I had the strangest job interview probably ever. I applied to work in a jewelry store as a salesperson. So I was invited to come in for an interview, part of the normal process. So when I went in for the interview, it was just, the typical interview like Q&As and questions and answers. So towards the end of the interview, the lady who was interviewing me, she just asked me like, she told me first of all that this is totally out of the subject, but I just feel like having a casual conversation with you just to get a little bit of your personality. So she asked me, what are your guilty pleasures? So I said to her, like, for me, my guilty pleasures would probably, watching the really tacky reality shows. The reason, like, reality shows like The Housewives, The Hills. Sometimes I know that's over anyway, but sometimes when it's on rerun, I watch it. So the reason why I refer to this as tacky reality shows is because, like, I attend an Ivy League school, so sometimes when the issue of reality shows is brought up, and when it's brought up, people often look down on it in this institution. So when you then admit that you watch reality shows, it almost makes you look less intellectual. So it's one of the reasons why I don't really throw it about that I watch reality shows. Anyway, I explained all this to her in the conversation, and she was like, no worries, it's okay, that you're actually the first guy today that we've interviewed, not today anyway, but you're actually the first guy that we've interviewed in a long time who hasn't mentioned porn as his guilty pleasure. Yes, you heard me, porn. And I was like, how do I respond to this? Really? How do I, oh my God, like, oh my God, how do I respond? And what really pisses me off is that there's a possibility that these guys who mentioned porn as guilty pleasures might actually get the job over me. So it's like sometimes being being a prude is now becoming the weird thing, In ancient times, being the bad seed was, you're always considered to be the weird one if you're different or odd or bad. But now being the prude is oh my God, being a prude is now considered weird. And the way she looked at me, I was like, oh my God, this is discrimination against people who don't really engage in porn. I mean, I've been exposed to it, but it's not something that I like go after the way some people do. I mean, come on.